I am your guide through the corridors of power. The lessons you will hear are not soft words meant for gentle hearts. They are forged in the furnaces of history, sharpened on the edge of human ambition. If you seek comfort, you will find none here. But if you seek strength, listen closely. In a world where hesitation is punished and weakness devoured, how do you walk among wolves without becoming prey? Today, we solve the problem of fear, the invisible chain that binds the powerless. Let us break it, using the wisdom of a man who studied power as others study scripture, Niccolò Machiavelli. In the counsels of the powerful, mercy without might is as fragile as glass in a storm. The world we inhabit is not governed by sentiment, but by the unyielding laws of survival. To be respected, you must first be feared, or, at the very least, impossible to dismiss. And so we arrive at a truth most men cannot stomach. Kindness is a luxury afforded only to those who have the means to enforce it. Consider the ruler who governs with nothing but gentle words, with an open hand extended to all. His people may love him, yes, but love alone will not hold the walls when the enemy presses at the gates. The ambitious see softness as an invitation. The desperate see generosity as an opportunity. And those who once saw loyalty may find their allegiance swayed by the first who promises them more. In politics, in business, even in the quiet rivalries of everyday life, the same law applies. A virtue that is not protected by strength will be consumed by the appetites of others. Strength, in this sense, is not merely the strength of the sword or the size of the treasury. It is the strength of will, the readiness to make hard decisions, and the ability to act decisively when circumstances demand. The man of true power does not offer kindness as a constant gift, but as a calculated gesture, given when it reinforces his position, withdrawn when it undermines it. Machiavelli observed that generosity, when unchecked, drains the resources of a ruler and forces him to turn to his people for aid. This, in turn, breeds resentment, not gratitude. What the crowd sees is not the memory of your kindness, but the burden they now carry to support it. Thus, even acts of charity, when unsupported by the means to sustain them, become seeds of discontent. To give wisely is to give within the boundaries of your strength. To ensure that your generosity reinforces your authority, rather than weakens it. A prince who wishes to endure must understand the human heart, and the human heart, for all its beauty, harbors envy, ambition, and fear alongside love. The subjects of such a ruler will admire kindness, but they will follow strength, for strength inspires security, and in security men find peace. Without it, they see your mercy not as benevolence, but as vulnerability. They will not say this aloud, but in the privacy of their thoughts, they will weigh you, and if they find you wanting, they will look elsewhere for leadership. The same is true beyond the palace walls. In the court of politics, in the marketplace, in the alliances between nations, those who rely solely on goodwill are as merchants who trade in promises without gold to back them. The treaties they sign will be broken. The allies they trust will vanish when the winds shift, and their influence will decay with the first sign of hardship. A wise leader, therefore, constructs his authority as a fortress. Within that fortress, kindness can flourish, for it is guarded by walls no enemy can breach. Acts of mercy become demonstrations of power, not of weakness. When you forgive, it is not because you must, but because you can. When you give, it is not from fear of losing loyalty, but from the confidence that loyalty has already been secured. But do not confuse this with cruelty for its own sake. Excessive severity will breed hatred, and hatred can topple thrones just as quickly as weakness. The art lies in the balance, to temper strength with just enough kindness that it is remembered as a blessing, not expected as a right. Machiavelli's lesson is not to discard compassion, but to anchor it firmly in the reality of power. The ruler who begins with kindness and hopes to build strength upon it will find the foundation crumbling before the walls are even raised. The ruler who begins with strength and chooses to be kind will find his mercy magnified by the security it rests upon. Men will speak of such a ruler with both respect and affection, for they know that his kindness is not the desperate grasp of a weak man, but the deliberate gift of one who does not fear losing control. And here lies the paradox that so many fail to grasp. Kindness, when unprotected, is not kindness at all. It is surrender dressed in noble clothing. It may win you smiles, even songs in your honor, but it will not save you when ambition comes for your crown. To endure, to lead, to command respect, you must build first the unshakable arm, the unyielding will, and then, when you choose to open your hand, your kindness will not be questioned. It will be seen for what it is. The choice of one who could have withheld it, and whose power makes it all the more valuable. Fear is a shadow that lives in every man. It creeps behind the eyes, tightening the voice, slowing the hand. But in the arena of power, it is not your fear that will destroy you. It is the moment others see it. For perception is reality in the minds of the many. And once you are marked as timid, every adversary knows where to strike. The lesson is not that you must be without fear, for even the boldest heart trembles at times. The lesson is that your fear must remain unseen. Let it burn within you in silence if it must. But to the world you must stand as a fortress, unmoved by the storms that rage around you. The people you lead, the allies you rely upon, and the enemies who stalk your steps. They will measure you not by your private doubts, but by the face you present to them, and in that theater courage, or the appearance of it, is worth more than any truth buried inside you. Machiavelli knew that in the councils of rulers, the man who hesitates is already defeated. A pause, a nervous glance, a single wavering word can reveal more to your adversary than 1,000 spies. Power is a contest of impressions, and to appear fearless is to seize the advantage. Before a single move has been made, your rivals will think twice before striking at one who seems unshaken, for they will imagine strength where there may be none, and that imagination is enough to buy you time, space, and the upper hand. Consider the battlefield. Soldiers look to their commander for assurance. If he trembles, if his voice quivers, the army will sense it like a predator scents blood. The fear spreads, not through logic, but through instinct. Yet if that same commander conceals his dread, speaking in steady tones, standing firm in the saddle, the men will believe in his strength, and in their own. In truth, he may be as uncertain as they are, but belief is the first weapon in war, and it is forged not in fact, but in perception. This is not deception for its own sake. It is leadership in its purest form. To project fearlessness when the earth shakes beneath you is to steady those who depend on you. It is also to deny your adversaries the comfort of knowing they have unsettled you. For nothing weakens the will of an enemy more than the suspicion that his efforts to intimidate you have failed. In the courts of diplomacy, this principle is just as vital. A negotiator who reveals nervousness will be pressed harder, his concessions extracted one by one, until nothing remains. But the negotiator who appears unmovable, even when the terms weigh heavily upon him, forces the other side to yield ground. The belief that you cannot be rattled makes others tread more carefully, offering more than they would to one whose fear is written on his face. This is why the fox, as much as the lion, is a model for rulers. The fox cannot match the lion's brute force, but survives through the skill of appearing confident in every encounter. He may be calculating his escape in silence, but his posture and his eyes tell a different story. In the human world, this same art can be mastered: the steady gaze, the measured breath, the voice that carries without strain. These are the armor of the seemingly fearless. You will find that the mask of courage, once worn long enough, begins to fuse with the skin beneath it. The performance strengthens the performer. The act of appearing unafraid begins to dull the sharp edge of fear itself. In this way, the appearance of courage is not merely a disguise. It is a weapon that shapes the mind behind it. Many who set out only to appear brave find that they have, in time, become so. But remember, this armor must never crack in public view. One display of panic can undo years of cultivated respect. Those who once admired your steadiness will whisper of your fragility, and whispers are seeds that grow quickly in the soil of ambition. Thus, every public step, Every word, every glance must be weighed. Even your silences must feel deliberate, not hesitant. When you walk among those who would see you fall, you must move as though the ground itself obeys your stride. When you speak, you must command not only the ears of your listeners, but their imagination. Let them believe you hold the strength to withstand anything, and they will shape their actions around that belief. Fear will still live within you, but it will be your prisoner, not your master. Power is not held by the strongest arm or the sharpest blade alone. True power belongs to the one who sees the unseen, who reads the hidden language of men's hearts, who understands what moves them and what breaks them. Control is not the art of domination, it is the art of comprehension. If you would master fear, you must first master the minds of those who stand before you, whether they call themselves your friend or your foe. A man who knows nothing of another's heart walks blind into the game of power. He strikes where there is no weakness and spares where there is none to spare. But the man who studies, who listens, who observes, he does not waste his efforts. He knows where the cracks lie, and with a single, precise touch, he can shatter the whole structure. Machiavelli understood that the key to ruling is not merely to command, but to anticipate. To anticipate, you must know. And to know, you must understand. This is why the ruler, the leader, the ambitious man must become a collector of truths. Not the truths men offer openly, for those are often dressed in lies, but the truths they reveal without knowing it. The glance they avoid when a certain name is spoken. The slight hesitation before agreeing to a deal. The way their voice lifts when they speak of something they desire. These are the whispers of their soul, and once you hear them, you will know what binds them and what will set them aflame. An enemy who boasts of his courage may be hiding a terror of disgrace. A loyal ally may be loyal only until a richer offer appears. A rival who speaks of honor may have none, if betrayal serves him better. If you understand these things, you will never be surprised, for you will have already prepared for their arrival. The battle, whether fought with swords or words, is won before it begins when you have mapped the terrain of the human mind. This is why a ruler must not merely surround himself with guards, but with information. He must hear the conversations that occur beyond his sight. He must know the ambitions of his ministers, the resentments of his people, the plans of his enemies, before they take form. But information alone is not enough. You must know how to read it. You must understand not only what men say, but why they say it. You must look beyond the surface to the hunger or fear that shapes their words. Consider the diplomat who negotiates a treaty. He does not press his own terms blindly, for he knows that the other side will resist if they feel cornered. Instead, he discovers what they truly need, what they cannot leave without, and he builds his strategy around it. In giving them what they desire most, he can take what he truly seeks, and they will thank him for it. This is control through understanding, the ability to move another to your will, not by force, but by guiding them along the path they already wish to walk. Even the smallest gestures can yield the greatest insights. A man's eyes will betray more than his tongue. The way a hand rests on the hilt of a sword, the way a merchant's fingers tap upon the table during a bargain, the way a rival leans forward or away in conversation, all of these speak of his state of mind. Learn to see them, and you will hold the keys to his actions. But understanding is not only for use against enemies. It binds allies more tightly than any oath. When you know the needs and fears of those who serve you, you can offer them the security or reward they crave most. They will see you not only as a leader, but as the one who understands them when others do not. And a man who feels understood is a man who will rarely turn away. Yet there is a danger here, for to understand too much is to see too clearly the flaws in every man. You will learn that loyalty is often conditional, that love can be bought or lost, that honor bends beneath pressure. These truths may darken your view of the world, but they will also free you from the naivety that destroys rulers. You will act not on hope, but on certainty. Control through understanding is not a weapon you display openly. It is the silent dagger beneath your cloak, unseen until it is needed. Your adversaries will never know how you anticipated their move, how you disarmed their schemes before they began. They will only know that you seem always prepared, always ahead, as though fortune itself walks at your side. But it is not fortune. It is knowledge, sharpened into power and wielded with precision. Opportunity is a fleeting mistress. She does not wait for the hesitant, nor does she reward the man who lingers at the edge of action, weighing every possible risk until the moment is gone. She is drawn to movement, to decisiveness, to the man who reaches out and takes her by the hand before another has the chance. This is the truth the timid cannot bear. Inaction is not safety. It is the slowest form of defeat. In the game of power, hesitation is a signal, a crack in your armor that others will rush to exploit. The rival who acts first, even if his move is imperfect, seizes the ground that could have been yours. The ally who commits boldly will inspire followers. The one who waits will watch his influence fade. Machiavelli understood that fortune herself is like a river in flood. If you do not seize control and direct its flow, it will break its banks and sweep away all that you hope to preserve. The bold man accepts that risk is a constant companion. He does not demand certainty before he moves. He knows that certainty is the dream of the cautious, and by the time it arrives, the moment has already passed. He acts while the outcome is still uncertain, trusting that the strength of his will and the speed of his strike will carry him through. In this way, he often defeats men of equal or greater resources, simply because they were slower to commit. History is filled with examples of those who hesitated and were undone by it. The general who waited for perfect weather lost the battle to one who marched through the storm. The merchant who delayed his venture until the market was safe found it already taken by others who dared sooner. In every arena, war, politics, commerce, the same law applies. The bold claim the rewards while the cautious count the costs. But boldness is not recklessness. The reckless man acts without thought, rushing forward with no plan and no understanding of the terrain. He may win once, but his victories will be accidents, and sooner or later fortune will turn against him. True boldness is calculated. It sees the danger, it measures the risk, and it acts anyway, because the prize is worth the cost. It is the courage to strike when others are frozen by doubt, combined with the wisdom to know when a strike will matter most. To be bold is also to shape the perception of others. A bold action, even if small, can create the illusion of momentum. It makes people believe you are in control, that events bend to your will. Allies rally to a leader who moves with purpose. Enemies hesitate before confronting one who appears unstoppable. This is why a ruler must sometimes act swiftly, even if his plan is not yet complete. For the mere act of movement can shift the balance of power. Boldness has another advantage. It forces your rivals into reaction. When you move first, you set the terms of the conflict. They must adapt to your initiative, responding to your moves instead of making their own. This keeps them always a step behind, always in your shadow, never able to seize the upper hand. It is better to make your enemies guess at your intentions than to guess at theirs. Fortune, like men, is more easily led than followed. She prefers those who command her, rather than those who wait for her favor. Machiavelli likened fortune to a woman who yields more readily to those who approach her with audacity, who take her boldly rather than supplicate timidly. This is not cruelty. It is the recognition that life itself rewards the hand that acts. In times of uncertainty, the bold man thrives. While others debate and delay, he moves. While others watch the storm from shelter, he sails into it, knowing that the same wind that destroys the cautious will carry him to new shores. He does not need to know exactly what lies beyond the horizon. He trusts that the act of reaching it will bring rewards impossible to gain from the safety of the shore. The timid often tell themselves they are simply waiting for the right moment. But the right moment rarely arrives. And when it does, it is often visible only in hindsight, after another has already taken it. Boldness creates its own moments. It does not wait for the perfect time. It makes the time perfect by acting. And in the realm of power, the man who moves first is the man most likely to stand last. In the realm of power, fear is the chain that binds the weak, and the mask of strength is the key that unlocks freedom. Machiavelli's lessons are not gentle comforts. They are weapons for those who would stand unshaken in a world that seeks to bend them. Strength must guard kindness. Courage must be worn even in the shadow of doubt. Understanding must be the hand that guides control, and boldness must be the blade that seizes fortune before another's grasp. These are not mere ideas, but the armor of those who refuse to bow, for the one who walks with these truths will not simply survive among wolves. He will lead them.